If you've made a lot of money, you have some stability financially, relationally, and you also have a lot of stuff, but you're still unhappy day-to-day basis, continue to watch this podcast, listen to this podcast. This one is going to be for you. Welcome back to the Chasing a Greater Vision podcast. I'm your host, Rickey Jasper. Today's episode is work-life balance hacks when you have more money than happiness. I see this so many times where you can have a lot of money, but that money doesn't lead to happiness. You can have a lot of stuff, but the stuff doesn't lead to happiness. And what do you do when that happens? So there's 4 things that we are going to dive into today, and I'm going to give them to you at a high level. First is identify your values. Number 2, limit your materialism. Number 3, lead a healthy lifestyle. And number 4, challenge yourself. Now, where and why does this happen? In my opinion, in what I've seen in my life, my 20s were really a hunt to make money so that I could feel, happy in my 30s. I was able to go really, really hard at work. I was able to start and grow businesses. I was able to do some things. And I was like, if I get the money, if I get the thing that somebody can look at and say, Rickey did this, Rickey built that, wow, 413 apparel, oh, I want to talk about it, oh, wow, you have these sponsorships, you do XYZ. I thought that those things would make me happy. I thought getting the stuff, getting the car, getting the, whatever, like dating, certain specific people, whatever. I thought that those things would make me happy. And the one thing that I realized was none of it made me happy. It gave me a dopamine spike in the moment, but it never really made me happy. And so I think often we get into our jobs and we think, okay, once we get this financial stability and once we get the wife and once we get the house and once we have the kid and the car and whatever, that we will be happy. And sometimes it's not the case. It can provide us happiness from time to time, but there still might be that little bit of an empty, space and void that needs to be filled. And what do we try to fill it with? Getting more stuff. So if this is you, keep watching because we're really, really going to get into it. How do we become actually happier and more fulfilled when we have all the stuff? First is we want to identify our values. So if you're someone who has everything, but you don't know where your values are, some things are going to end up causing a little bit of friction because you're going to be doing stuff for money, but you're not going to be doing the things that you love that align with the person that you want to be. And if they don't align with the person that you want to be, it can take you down a different and a wrong path. How do you identify your values? First, you have to identify what truly matters to you. And this is irrespective of the stuff. It's what actually matters to you. If all of the things, all the stuff, all the money and everything was pushed aside, what actually matters to you? For me right now, it's my family, right? It's my immediate family. It's my fiance. It's my pups. It's my close friends. It's doing this podcast, giving content. If there was nothing else, if I had nothing else and I could do these things, I could find a level of fulfillment. Now, would every day be happy because I don't have the luxuries that I have now? Maybe not, but I would be able to wake up in the morning and say, wow, I'm able to chase something. I'm able to have a level of enjoyment and I'm able to do something that I feel is meaningful. When you're 20s to 30s or around that age, you're chasing stability. But what happens when you get stability? What do you do then? And I think that we hit a point where, if I'm talking to guys, I'll just speak specifically to guys, when we hit a point where it's like 30 to 40s and we have some things and some stability, it's like no one taught us what to do when you have that stuff because we're not in high school or in college, chasing our hoop dreams or chasing sports dreams. We're not in our 20s just chasing a career and grind just to have enough to, fund our lifestyle. Typically, it's like we have enough to fund our lifestyle for some people. We're not in this phase of we got to chase to find stability. We typically have some stability in some way, shape, or form. So what do we do when we have that? And now we're just going through this rat race and just going through and trying to stay motivated, doing the same thing. We've already got the results. And are you searching in the wrong places too? Because what I've seen in myself is once I was able to acquire stability in certain areas, I realized, oh man, it's easier for me to search in wrong places. It's easier for me to go and be like, well, let me go back into old habits. More explicit content on the internet, more just idle time, just doing whatever, right? Instead of saying, oh, well, now I have some more time, I have some stability, let me dive into what I want to focus on from a podcast standpoint. Let me dive into what I want to focus on from a speaking standpoint. Let me focus on what I want to do and how I want to be a better man for my fiance and what I want to build with her together in the family, down the road that we hope to have. That is what you can do, especially when you've already had some stability. But those are my values. You have to identify what your values are. And in that idle time, if you have idle time, walk into those values. Number 2, limit materialism. So if you're a person who needs a lot of stuff to show off, just realize, like I say this, like if it can burn over time, it's not going to just provide you some level of like eternal happiness or fulfillment. So probably 2 years ago, I had started a job which I was able to really see that I'd be very financially secure. And it was the first time in 3 or 4 years where I felt like that. And I was like, okay, great. Like I'm making some good money. I want to upgrade my car and all of this stuff. So I had a list of just like stuff I wanted to get. And I'm like, yes, I can finally do it. I can finally, get the car that I wanted. I can finally do X, Y, Z. And, I realized, and I went to the dealership and I was like, okay, I knew when I was going to put the down payment and everything. And then I had a weird day where I was driving in the car that I still currently have. And I realized, I was like, man, driving in that new car actually isn't going to make this day better. I was like, I'd still just be sad in a new car. And then I'd be frustrated because now I have more bills, and maybe I'd feel more stressed out because now I have to assume that the job that I have or whatever, these things are just going to stay constant, forever. And it made me feel more stressed. And I realized that having more stuff wasn't the thing that was going to make me happy. Limiting materialism is going to make you realize that just the stuff isn't going to make you happy. And when you limit the materialism, what you're able to do is your mindset shifts to what is true and what's genuine. I know for myself and my habits, right? I'm into running. I'm into doing high rocks. I'm into, doing some kind of endurance things now. And I know when I get online, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. New running shoes. I feel real good. They've gotten there after the first week that I ran in them. I'm literally online looking for another pair of new running shoes. And I'm like, what am I chasing? I'm chasing the high of I got this thing. I'm not chasing the enjoyment and the fulfillment of actually doing the thing that should be actually bringing me real joy, which is irrespective of the actual things that aid in the joy, right? Limiting materialism is going to help. And what do you find materialistic? What you find materialistic to you is different than what I find materialistic to me, right? Like I go and I invest money in, the smoker and things I want to, recipes and things I want to make on the smoker, because that for me isn't a materialistic thing. It provides me joy and it provides me happiness, it provides me fulfillment to really dive into my love of cooking, of smoking meats, of, being able to provide my family with a really healthy meal. I love that. So where somebody else sees that as materialistic, it's not for me. Somebody might be a car connoisseur and they love that. That provides them so much joy. The engineering and everything, where I might find that materialistic, that isn't materialistic to them because it provides them a level of fulfillment. So materialism is different for everybody. But if there are things that you are just taking from a materialistic standpoint that you're doing to boost your ego, audit those. And if it's just to boost your ego, to just make you feel better about yourself, you can limit those and you can change that energy that you're putting into something else. Number 3, lead a healthy lifestyle. For me, when it comes to work-life balance, and especially for having happiness, my lifestyle is the biggest thing. I don't care if you were like, hey, you're going to make $2 million a year, but you can only work out once a week. I would never take that deal, because for me, leading a healthy lifestyle mentally, spiritually, relationally, physically, these things are so important, because if you don't have a healthy lifestyle, then all the stuff and all of the things that you thought that mattered, you won't even really be able to enjoy them, even if they are materialistic. I lived in San Diego for 7 years. And the thing about San Diego, it's a great place. It's a beautiful place, but you see so many exotic cars driving down the coastline and everything, and you see the parties, the this and that, where so many not good things are happening. And I as I stepped away from it and saw it, I'm like, man, are these people really happy? Are they really healthy with their lifestyle, or are they chasing highs? In my own life in San Diego, there were so many times where I was just chasing highs. I was just chasing different women, and I was just doing things that were not conducive to a healthy lifestyle. So I even though I was making money, my actual happiness didn't match at all. I was just doing stuff. So figuring out how you can lead a healthy lifestyle, that you can take the attention off of the stuff and put the attention on yourself, on your healthy lifestyle. Now, the silos that I find that are the most important to live a healthy lifestyle, I've said them and I'll continually say them. Your relationship, or getting into a healthy relationship, spirituality, whatever you believe in, diving into it a little bit more. Physically, being able to move your body. If you don't feel physically good, you don't have energy, you're not able. On days that I'm sick, I'm not happy because I don't feel good. On days that you're sick, you're probably complaining just like I am. You probably feel crappy just like I do, and it just doesn't feel good. So that's why from a physical standpoint, you want to have energy. You want to be able to do that as well. Mentally, taking time for your mental health, taking some rest, getting away from the things that are just giving you so much stimulus so you can just be mentally healthier. Those things provide happiness that's not monetary, that's not connected to monetary, that by getting those things straight, maybe down the road, yes, it can provide monetary benefits, but you're not doing it for the monetary benefits. You're doing it for the self benefits so that you can feel happier, so that you can feel more fulfilled, so you can show up better in the areas that are important, not the areas that just make money to get you the stuff. Number 4, challenge yourself, or find something challenging. So this kind of goes back into what I was saying from a 20s to 30s. The challenge for most men in their 20s to 30s in the United States of America who have gone through some level of education is, I am going to go and find a job and try to get the position, try to get the woman, try to, start the family and all the things. And I'm trying to find stability. Now, once you find stability, what are you challenging yourself at? I've seen it time and time again where people who I know, and I see it just from afar as well, is they have all the stuff and then everything just gets dull. And you see them start to complain. And every day is just like a drag. And you're like, man, what are you complaining about? You have all the things. And I sat back and I took some time and I realized, I was like, oh, but there's nothing that they're challenging themselves to do. Some things are challenging for them. They're not picking a thing that is a challenge for themselves. For example, if you are in a relationship and it's become a marriage and you have kids. I don't have kids, but what I've seen is having kids is very, very challenging, and being a parent is very, very challenging. And so the challenging aspect of it, from what I've seen, and so don't shoot the messenger, it's just my observation, is you now have to place so much emphasis on someone else, and there's so much love and there's so many great things about that, right? So that is a challenging life transition. But the challenge I'm talking about is more of are there other things in life outside of the job, outside of the relationship, outside of the kids, that is for yourself, that when you wake up in the morning, you're like, this is for me, it's a challenge. For me now, it's running. God willing, we have kids. Those challenges, I'm not going to just put by the wayside. I'm going to adjust and make time around the more important things, but I still will need something to challenge myself, because once I do, I get a sense of pride by conquering something. I get a sense of pride by seeing myself improve. We get senses of pride by doing those things that are not just monetary. Challenge yourself. And I have this note. It says, sometimes the thing that makes you money is meaningful, but you place emphasis on the money and not the why. If you're placing so much emphasis on the money, then you might not be working in an area that's challenging for you, that you want to be challenged by. I'll sum this up by saying, focus on something that's specifically for you, that you can be selfish about, that is challenging for you, that you feel a sense of pride once you've conquered it, that gives you a sense of confidence, because that confidence will just spill over to so many other areas of your life. And when you feel that fulfillment by that confidence that's come from something that you've chosen to do, it will far outweigh the feeling that you've gotten from a fleeting dollar or paycheck. I hope that this message helped you out. Our word of the day is very simple. It's meaning. It's finding meaning. It's meaning that's beyond just quick dopamine hits. It's meaning that's beyond a quick paycheck. It's finding meaning in yourself. It's finding meaning in challenges. It's finding meaning in who you are and who you want to be, outside of what you just want to show off to people so that they can say great job, or like a post or comment, or just like save a post or send it to a friend just so you can feel good about yourself for 2 seconds. Find meaning in your life. Now, this is something in our 30s that we have to work on, and I'm going to continue working on it. I hope you continue working on it too. We are going to find happiness and fulfillment outside of money, because I think that money can enhance life, but money is not life in and of itself. If you like this message, send it, and I will see you next time. Peace. Thank you all so much for watching the Chasing a Greater Vision podcast. If you like this podcast, please like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, send it to friends, use a carrier pigeon, do whatever you have to do. We hope that this inspires you to chase your greater vision in your life and for us to continually and consistently do it together.